On September 30th, Russia announced the annexation of 4 occupied provinces in the Ukraine: Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson, citing the results of a hasty election in those areas in which the occupied population, not surprisingly, elected to become part of Russia. During the Second World War, Germany's ally was Italy, while in today's world, Belarus has become Russia's little brother ally in the current war in Ukraine. Belarus allowed Russian military units to use their country as a staging area for attacks against Kiev in the early weeks of the Ukraine war, as well as provided a safe haven later for retreating Russian troops. And more importantly, Belarus made a recent proclamation on October 10, 2022, threatening Ukraine with possible attacks by their own Belarusian military. This escalation mirrors that of Germany and Italy over 80 years ago. After Germany's successful invasion of Poland in October of 1939, German ground troops would see no real action against Great Britain or France, other than minor clashes along the French-German border. It would be 8 more months before Germany attacked France on May 10, 1940, which finally brought the British and French armies into direct major confrontation with German ground forces. Even then, the European war was not yet a world war. The Soviet Union took advantage of a weak Britain and France to annex the eastern provinces of Poland, and with it took the Baltic nations of Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Ironically, while Britain and France had declared war on Germany for its invasion of Poland, they did absolutely nothing against the Soviet occupation of half of Poland and 3 other independent nations. When the Soviet Union launched its invasion of Finland on November 30, 1939, neither Britain nor France nor any other country in the League of Nations declared war against the Soviet Union, and only small amounts of military equipment and volunteer fighters made it to Finland. Similarly, Japan's wars and annexations of Korea and Manchuria did not bring any international declarations of war. Even Japan's war against China did not bring the United States or any other major European powers into the conflict. It wasn't until Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor and other British and French territories that would finally bring the world, in the words of President Roosevelt, to a second world war. Now the world has watched as Russia annexed the Crimea and invaded Ukraine. Belarus has aided Russia in the invasion while it has maintained a pseudo-neutrality. Similar to the Lend-Lease agreements during World War II with Britain and later the Soviet Union, the United States and its NATO allies have provided military and economic aid to the Ukraine. However, the alignments of nations have been shifting in the last few months. Turkey, which continues to fight alongside Russian troops in Syria, has made recent overtures of providing greater assistance to Russia in its war with Ukraine. Turkey has also made claims for decades against Greece for island territories that are close to Turkey's mainland, and has been escalating these protests in recent months, placing those nations at risk to a military confrontation. Poland and Finland have been making their own declarations against Russia. Finland and Sweden, long known for being neutral countries, have asked to join NATO. Russia, China, and India recently met in September 2022, possibly moving those countries closer to an alliance. China continues to threaten the invasion of Taiwan and has even participated in joint naval exercises with Russia in the Bering Sea, just miles from the Alaskan territories. And North Korea continues to rattle the nerves of South Korea, Japan, and the United States with its nuclear program and missile tests. So do you think we're already in the Third World War? The wars of the 1930s progressed somewhat independent of each other and continued to escalate, forcing nations to choose a side to fight on. The Second World War did not technically begin until December 7, 1941, when most of the major nations of the world were then at war. And even after that war ended, many countries continued to fight their own civil wars: Greece, China, Korea, and Vietnam, to name a few. What we have seen since Russia's annexation of the Crimea, its support of rebels in Luhansk and Donetsk provinces, the invasion of Ukraine with Belarusian support, and the recent claims of annexation of the Ukrainian provinces indicate that the war has escalated in a similar way as to how the German territory annexations and the Spanish Civil War paved the way for the eventual attack on Poland. The next combatants in this modern war might become Turkey, Greece, Belarus, Poland, Germany, and Finland. That could bring the United States and other European nations into this conflict, which in turn could lead China and North Korea taking actions against Taiwan and South Korea, respectively. Would India take advantage and attack Pakistan? Would Iran attack Israel? The conflict may not be officially known as the Third World War yet, but it does have all the makings of a war that could potentially escalate quickly. Because of this, I think we are already in World War III. The future is in the hands of a few. Thanks for watching, and as always, please subscribe and leave a comment.